The Wellness Show, episode 75.
Welcome to The Wellness Show, a podcast on health and wealth. I'm your host, Tyson Bannigan, the founder of the Extraordinary Healing Arts Academy. Join me as we get the latest insight, tips, and strategies from wellness providers, coaches, and successful, heart-centered entrepreneurs, and much, much more. Welcome to the Wellness Show, and on the call today, we have Dr. Laurie Moore, and she's a human and animal reader, has a therapy license, and is a graduate psychology teacher, and she assists with crossovers. I think that's both of crossovers of animals and humans, and we're about to find out. She's author of the Cat's Reincarnation, Transformative Encounters with Animals and Healing and Awakening the Heart, Animal Wisdom for Humans. She's appeared on BATGAP, NBC, CBS, CNN.com, Species Link, and John Burgos. Wow, you've been around a lot. You've been on many shows. Well, welcome to this show. I'm excited to have you here.
Yes. Very good to be here. Love the energy as I've been listening to other shows. Wonderful to be here with you.
So how did you get into animal communication?
As a little girl, I loved the animals, and animal communication really begins with love. So when we're loving someone or something, our heart opens to them and we begin to receive what their soul and their mind and their body are expressing to us. So it's just my natural state of being, and evolved quite a lot as I accepted it and trusted it in later years.
So as a little girl, what was the first animal you had that aha experience and knew that you could actually have a conversation with them?
Well, I didn't really think of it as anything unusual or really even as having a conversation. I grew up with a cat named Tiger, and I was in love with her from the beginning. She picked me out. My mother took me over to a litter of kittens who were too young to leave their mother, and she walked right over. It was her first time away from her mother. We had love at first sight. And later on, when I was in college and I'd grown up with her and I wasn't able to take her to college, she wasn't allowed in the dorms, one night she came to me and told me that she had left her body. And I called my mother the next morning and said, "Mom, did Tiger go?" And she said, "Yeah, Tiger died yesterday." And the interesting thing was, at that time, I didn't really think of it as anything unusual. It was only in later years that I came to realize that this was a skill available to everyone, and that I needed to share it with people to help people open up to that.
Well, that's wonderful. I know the feeling of what it is to have to leave an animal behind. It's a very, very, well, I can't even find the words to describe it. It's like somebody's wrenching something from your soul. So I do feel for that. And then also to have an animal come to you as it passes over, more to console us, I think, than anything else, to tell us that it's okay. That's a tremendous experience as well. So how did this then become, I mean, you had this experience with Tiger. How did this become then your passion or your life's work? How did that happen?
At one point in my adult life, I found myself praying to return to heaven on earth. And it wasn't a willful or planned prayer. It just spontaneously erupted from my heart. And I felt that I could no longer live in this intense longing I had felt my whole life. Nothing fulfilled that longing. Great things happened. I had a wonderful career as a therapist, relationship, career, spiritual experience. Nothing fulfilled that burning longing. And so I just found myself asking to return to heaven on earth. And after that, I made that prayer, my cat at that time, Jessie, who I deeply, deeply loved, was taken by coyotes and went to the other side. And he found ways to tell me that he would be coming back, that that same soul would return to me very soon. And what happened was, I brought a cat named Shadow home from the SPCA under Jessie's guidance from the other side. And they did a soul switch. They actually switched souls. And I know this might sound very unbelievable, because if someone was telling me this story years ago, I would think they were making it up, or maybe they were a bit wacko. But this is what happened. I brought Shadow home. Shadow was not Jessie. Jessie's soul was lingering in the air. And Shadow was a very, very different cat. And I thought maybe I'd made a mistake. And I just decided to sit on my bed and meditate and make peace with everything. And they switched. And Jessie entered that body and looked me in the eyes and took me into eternity, where there's no time, there's no space, there's just oneness and love. And we were there for about an hour, gazing in each other's eyes. And then we went back to duality, and he walked around the house with me and showed me all his little quirks and made clear to me it was him. So the next day I was teaching a group at my house, and something in me said, you have to tell these people, like, this isn't private information. This is to be shared. This is to help others. And I thought, but they're going to think I'm out of my mind. And my heart said, it doesn't matter. You just tell them. And people were crying and laughing and sharing all kinds of unusual experiences they themselves had in the world of multidimensionalism. And from that point forth, which was many, many years ago, my life has been about helping people awaken and open and trust the deeper realms, the subtle realms, the sometimes unperceived realms.
So let me see if I got this right. So you're telling me that Tiger passed on, and that you went to the SPCA, or you found another kitten, and his name was Shadow, right? Now,
yes, but this is Jessie who had passed on now that we're talking about. Tiger was my childhood.
This is Jessie.
Yes.
Jessie coming back.
Yes.
So,
yes.
So with Jessie, was Jessie a walk-in to Shadow, or was
it was a mutual choice to do a soul switch. So one soul, the flavor and energy, all the personality, migrated out of the body as another one was migrating in. It was perfectly conscious. It was an arrangement between the two felines. Felines operate at many levels of awareness that are not what humans do. And so it was a mutual agreement that was happy for both.
Yeah.
And I could feel one leaving and one coming in, and the personality completely switched. It was a different being. So you could call that a walk-in.
But it was a total switch, though. It was a total switch that occurred, not a partial.
Yes.
Okay, great.
No, 100%. Shadow went on to another life, and Jessie was back with all his quirks, all his personality, everything about him.
So I have a funny, strange question, and that is, could you see it in the cat's eyes?
Yes, I could. For the hour that we were in the meditation, I could feel Jessie, and we were in eternity. We were in oneness. And I could see, and forever after that, all the years following, see the same Jessie that had been in that other body before.
Right. So the question I was asking was a little bit different, but could you notice with the soul shift, could you recognize the appearance in the eyes? I guess I was asking, were the eyes the same? I mean, it's a different cat body, but could you notice that there was the same eyes of your previous cat? It's a strange question.
Yes. No, it's a very important question. Yes, but the flavor, the energy, the light that comes through the eyes was Jessie, whereas before it was Shadow. So the eyes were the same color. They were the same shape. But it was clearly a different being.
Right.
Yes.
Great. So have you had that sort of experience with any other animals?
Yes, because Jessie then proceeded to stay with me for many, many years, 14, and we went through it again. When we went through it again, where he had to leave. This time he had gotten ill. He worked with many, many people. He's a teacher and a healer. He knows people all over the world. I get calls for Jessie. And he had some strokes. He had amazing things happen. He actually had a kind of resurrection where after a few strokes, he was in my lap and he froze and his eyes glazed over and there was hardly any breath. And I said, Jessie, if you want to go, I'm letting you go. But if you want help, I'll help you in any way. And he said, I want help. And I put him down on the deck, and I ran in and I emailed 8 of my most trusted healer colleague friends. And by the grace of the universe, a bunch of them got it. And we all started praying, healing, working. And within half an hour, he popped back and his body was working. I'm looking at him now. And he was alive, but he lived a physically compromised life for the next year or so. And at some point, he just asked me to get help. In my lap, he was put to sleep. His soul went through my heart, up through my head. He surrounded me. He stayed with me for 2 weeks and said he would be back. And he did come back again. And this was just 5 weeks ago. So I have a kitten now who has all the same personality, flavor, and quick. You want to come on this?
Yeah.
Same exact guy, except totally healthy and renewed and refreshed.
So this is the new incarnation.
This is Jesse just enjoying his 3rd body with me this life.
Right. And that's a carbon kitten, a carbon copy of my kitty, although she has a white blaze on her front. I've had black cat after black cat after black cat. I swear to God, they're all interconnected and they all communicate with each other. So I believe that the felines are here to help us make this transition in consciousness and help us wake up. So that's my belief system.
Absolutely. I'm in 100% agreement with that. They are profound teachers, masters. Yeah. Yes.
And no wonder they were called gods and goddesses in Egyptian times, right?
Yes, absolutely. Their capacity to heal and understand and embrace is just remarkable. And the way they play with this realm and the other realm is very beautiful. Yes.
So I get the impression, and I don't know why, of horses in your life. Am I right or am I wrong?
I don't personally have horses, but I'm surrounded by so many animals because people are calling me constantly from around the world to talk to their animals, and lots of people call. Actually, I feel the horses get the people to call me. I feel like the animals somehow, yeah. Yeah. So there's a lot of, you're probably sensing a lot of horses around. I did ride horses as a child. I don't ride horses now, not for any particular reason. It's just doing other things, but yeah.
So yeah, I just had this impression of lots and lots of horses. So have you had the opportunity to work with wild animals as well?
Yes, lots of whales, dolphins, insects, hawks. I prayed to the animals one year to be my teachers and to come assist. And ravens, hawks, salamanders, bobcats, coyotes, neighborhood animals were all showing up in our house, around our house, teaching me, working with the seminar clients. So yes, and the dolphins and whales kept calling me to go to Hawaii. And I took people over there for years to swim with the dolphins. And the first time I got to Molokai, when this was all happening, I asked the whales, we arrived and a cat and dog ran up to me and escorted me to the ocean before I unpacked or anything. And I screamed out over the water, if this is really real, I need some kind of sign that I'm not just making this up. Because I felt the whales and dolphins were approaching me long distance, changing my cells, changing my awareness, my consciousness. And as soon as I asked that, a whale just was going like this for about half an hour. So they've really found ways to affirm to me when doubt has come up, to keep listening, to keep trusting.
Well, that's exciting. I mean, I have a connection with whales as well. It came through working with crystal skulls, which then connected me to the whales off the Dominican Republic. And I have to say that whales are pretty amazing interdimensional, intergalactic beings that have an awful lot to teach us humans. And for me, to being in the water with a whale and having beside a being with a heart that huge, it's impossible not to be attuned to the whale. Like there's no way that you don't become one with the whale, because the energy off a whale is so gigantic. As a human, your littleness just dissipates, right? And you realize that you're part of something gigantic.
Yes, it's incredible. I actually feel like that with this little guy here, even though he's in this little body.
Yeah.
His energy field. A lot of people have said to me, Jesse just told me that he's bigger than the house. And I said, yeah, he tells a lot of people that. I do feel it's true. Yeah.
So
that feeling. Go ahead. Yeah.
I was wondering, do you have a sense that the cats work as a group? Like, do you have a sense that there's like a cat kingdom and that they work as, both individually and as a collective?
Yes, I would say they work individually, they work as a collective, and then they work in groups based on what their mastery or energy is. So over the years, I have found that in any species, you'll find beings of all different states of evolution. So some cats are just kind of hanging out like people, just checking out what's here, and other cats are doing master healing work and awakening work. Everyone's different, but
Right.
I do feel each species has its task as a whole, and that would include the felines as well as all the species.
So do you think then that cats and other species, well, if every species has a sense, or every species has lessons for us to learn? I mean, I just did a quantum jump there, but I believe that each species is here to teach humans. Then is the lesson that we're really about to learn is not only that we're individuals, but that we need to learn how to be part of a collective, and that with that, in that collective, we have certain gifts that we are to contribute to that collective. Is that part of the message that we're to learn from the feline community?
Absolutely, yes. Absolutely, that we really are all here together, and the deepest solutions to our ecological, political, psychological, creative, etc. challenges can come through our respect and working together and playing together and learning from each other, from the different species. The animals have tremendous wisdom, and each individual, human and animal, has tremendous wisdom, and so many systems help people to ignore that, unfortunately. So we want to invite people back to their own unique genius. And animals stick, regardless of what happens, animals are pretty good at continuing to trust their own unique genius, their own unique soul and flavor. So yes, I'm in a full agreement that all of us learning how to play and work together and respecting the individuality of each one will bring tremendous love back. Love is natural. Unconditional love is here. So maybe bringing it back isn't the right word. It will uncover us back to what we
Or
really are.
stepping into it,
And
what's already here. So,
yes, and the cats love to help us with that. And all,
absolutely.
all the animals.
Yeah, they'll wake us up first in the thing in the morning just to remind us that it was time to get up. So,
yes.
what are some of the other messages? I mean, they all have to do with helping us open our hearts, right? And realizing that that all the kingdoms are interconnected. It's not, nobody put humans at the top of the kingdom chain. That we're all in. And in fact, I love the First Nations, which say that all of the other kingdoms are here to support humans because we couldn't succeed on our own because we don't know how to do that yet. So really, we're the ones that need to learn from the other species. We're not the dominant species at all. We're the weaker of them. And we're having to learn these lessons of how to co-create together, how to be part of a herd, or how to be part of a pod, or how to have fun and joy together, or how to share in the birth of somebody new into the pod, all those things that we are to learn. So what are some of the messages from some of the other animal tribes that you've worked with?
Well, the dolphins are such masters at experiencing the vast array of emotions, all the emotions we experience, preferred and non-preferred, from joy to sorrow, from inclusion to jealousy, everything, but in a foundation of bliss. Just like the cats, yes, are so great at experience that in a foundation of peace, and the dogs in this love and loyalty. So learning that we can experience all the emotions like flavors, like weather, instead of in ways that we've turned them into meanings or problems. It allows us to go back to our life force, but not look for our life force in circumstances and what we think is good or not good, but look for our peace, our bliss inside us, and then live in that.
So that's the whole key of also being able to tune into the animals, of course, is being on that resonant frequency with that animal. So do you find that that you need to sort of tune in like a radio station to different animals, kingdoms, or does it just come so naturally that you don't even think about it anymore?
It's all love. If I am listening with universal love, it's like eternity is coming through me, behind me, in front of me. So I'm hearing, feeling, seeing, sensing what the soul before me is wishing to express. And if I stop listening for my intellect and let my intellect serve that telepathic heart, then there's a unique, beautiful genius in every cat, whale, dog, human that starts coming forward. And I feel it, I see it.
Now, I know in that series of questions that you sent me that you wanted to talk about the whole aspect of transition. And we started to do that on the cat level, about walk-ins and really amazing things like that, which of course happen with people as well. So talk about how animals help us understand about transition.
The animals think of leaving the body as leaving one costume of identity, and humans get kind of caught in these fleeting identities that we really just take on as a means of expression, service, giving, receiving. And so all the animals that I've worked with and talked to who are getting ready to go, who are going, or who have gone, stay in a kind of peace. It doesn't mean they don't have a biological pain or fear come up, but there's something deeper happening. There's a deep peace. And talking to all these animals who are about to go, deciding to go, have gone, has helped me to allow myself to stay in both realms at once, to stay in this realm and the realm where my human mother is, who passed over decades ago. I'm in touch with her a lot. It's normal. It's normal and okay to be on both sides at once. It's okay to let go. I don't quite know when all these veils showed up in the human race. Right. The animals don't seem to keep them, but it's okay. It's not scary. It's not negative. It's okay to be in so much love that we're in touch with beings on either side. I don't know when that seemed to get so scary to people and they thought it was something negative. It's positive. It's about love.
I think that animals are also much more aware of being multidimensional beings than we are as humans. So, you know, if you watch a cat, it spends a lot of its time asleep, but it's not, it's asleep, but it's very busy asleep. It's like part of its work at 50% of its life is or more. Well, for us too, it's asleep, but a cat is maybe like 75%, or it's more than a human. And you know that they got another reality world that is equally as important to them as it is in what we would call the wake world. So is that the same thing for us, for humans? Do we need to learn how to become more aware of our multidimensionality?
I think it will serve us very well, because the more we are aware of it, the more we're able to release all the conditionings and belief systems that don't serve the unconditional love and joy and cooperation and generosity and service and prosperity. We start to know from this neutral place, from this oneness place, every day I see, oh, there's a belief floating through my mind. That one can be released. Oh, there's an emotion that I thought was meaningful. It's just a pattern. That one can be loved into, it's composting into something else. We become different. We become our big self instead of a tiny portion of ourselves.
So what you're saying is that you know, part of the human drama is that we have these stories that we picked up, you know, from our culture or from our race or religion or the way that we are raised. And what you're saying is the more that we can realize that that isn't who we really are, that we can let go of these stories and discover the oneness of the greatness of who we are, that allows us even more to be in the flow of what the animals are in, which allows us to be able to communicate more and more with all the kingdoms, I would imagine, right?
Yes, then we see the stories not as something wrong to eliminate, but as tools. Like, oh, okay, today I put on a red sweater and I'll tell myself a story that will uplift me, so when I go work with people, I can bring joy to them. The stories are just tools.
Yes.
And when we see that, and like you so wonderfully, eloquently articulated, delve back into this more neutral oneness light place that we are. You said it differently, but the same idea. Then we're open to communicating with all the species who are communicating through their heart, which is every animal. And we have an unlimited bank account of whatever we choose. Oh, generosity, it's free of charge, kindness, love, care. We get to choose instead of be robotic responses cycling through the same old patterns.
So have you ever heard about what happened in Israel when they had the opportunity for mothers to birth their babies around pods of whales? Did you ever hear about that?
I heard a bit about it, but very little.
What I heard, and I don't know if this is true, but it makes a great story, is when that happens, the porpoises get really, really excited about what's happening, come very close, and they accept the baby as part of the pod. And that when the child grows up and comes back to that same place, they're welcomed as part of the pod. And that there's already, from that experience, there's an interspecies communication that's literally birthed at that time. And I thought, wow, that's
very
amazing.
Exciting. That's very happy news. And then there's a resonance that's continued from land to sea throughout that time before the reunion. When I was in Mexico teaching, I had a few hours off, and I started going on a walk, and I encountered a turkey vulture who had just left the body, looking up at the sky, heart to the sky. I could feel the soul was just leaving. I don't know what happened. I didn't see any accident or anything, but I decided to sit with the turkey vulture and just be there in love as that one was going. And afterwards, I continued on my walk, and I came to the family, a bunch of them, and I crouched down so it'd be, show them I respected their way. So I was at their height. And they really took me in. They accepted me. We spent quality time together. One of them flew around me like an honoring of love. And later that night when I was back with the people, a whole bunch of them came to the seminar and were flying over. And it was such a sweet experience of being accepted in another culture by honoring and respecting it. So your story touches my heart so deeply. It's such a beautiful connecting of two different species.
Yeah, and isn't that a wonderful world that we can envision when we do more and more of that? So we're getting near the end of the call, and I know people that are listening to this are going to want to say, well, how do I get hold of this lady? Because I want to talk to my animal. I want to learn how to do this. I want to know more. How do I get hold of this Laurie more anyway? So how do we get hold of you?
My website is AniMiracles.com. That's ANIMiracles.com. I'll say it one more time. ANIMiracles.com. AniMiracles.com. Or call me, 831-477-7007. That's 831-477-7007. So
as we wrap up, what's the last thought that you'd like to leave with the listeners today?
Just a lot of love from Jessie Justin Joy, my feline guru friend, baby kitten, and myself. Inviting you back to the love that's your birthright and that's in your heart and that you get to return to anytime you ask to.
Wow. Thank you ever so much for being on this show. And we'll have you back because I know we have other stories to tell. So until then, all the best.
Thank you. It's been so fun, and you're a delight. You're such a love, and thank you so much.
And thank you for showing up. Bye for now.
Bye.
For quality online wellness products, courses, and services, visit our sponsors, thewellnessstore.ca and the Extraordinary Healing Arts Academy located at thewellnessacademy.ca. To stay in touch, visit us at thewellnessshow.ca. And until next time, be healthy, wealthy, and wise.